I know what you're thinking, right? You get out of high school or possibly even college and you are just done with college, right? Like once you hit that point, once you hit that plateau, you're like, that's it, I'm done, I'm good for life. Well, my name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite, where we discover possibilities and ignite change. And today I want to talk about continued education. Now, this is something I feel is extremely important in your life. Now, before you click away, let me tell you why. Let me actually dive into this and actually provide you guys some alternative educational things that can help you benefit your life. Now, I myself, I did the college route, right? Not directly after high school. I did attempt it, but I ended up going back to college later in my 30s and got my degree. And, I've done a bunch of other different things, right? I've taken some trade schools, I've done a bunch of other different things. And what I found is that ultimately what you need to do is educate yourself, right? That's what you're going to get better in life about things, right? If you want to progress in life and really, up the ante, you want to be educated, right? And this isn't just about everything. You don't need to know everything under the sun, right? It's good to pick things, specific things in your life. Now, some of the basic things I think you should always educate yourself on is finances, right? Now, we are very, very limited on our knowledge on finances. And I myself, I neglected a long time my finances, especially even coming out of high school. But that was one of the biggest things that I believe everybody should, try to educate themselves on finances, right? That's some basic components and, some basic things just about your health and nutrition, I think is also another big thing that you should try to, become a little bit more educated on, right? I'm not saying go dive and, write a, 20-page essay for me. What I'm saying is, it's just get caught up on a lot of stuff, right? To get caught up on those things that can help you improve your life. And I'm not just throwing these basic things out there. I think those are some of the basic things, but ultimately, it's what you really want to do, right? What is really going to better your life, right? By reading a book on meditation, that might dramatically improve your life. I know it improved my life dramatically. And a lot of this continued education, you don't have to think of it as like school, right? Like I've done college, I've done technical school, and those things are great, right? They have a place. But ultimately, in this new day and age, we are drifting more away from that. And a lot of times you can find something on Google or you can find something on YouTube, and these resources, right? This experience that you find on there is, you're getting decades of experience of people teaching you things that dramatically cuts down your learning time, which is phenomenal and something I wish I really had when I was younger, right? Because I would have done so much more. I say that now, but ultimately I wish I would have, right? If I would have had that resource. It is by far one of the greatest things, ever to come of this generation is the fact that, you have these tools that are so powerful, right? You're like the knowledge is unlimited, right? It's just at your fingertips. And so continued education is extremely important in your life. And again, it is so easy, right? Because we YouTube stuff or we Google it if we don't know what the answer is. And it's good to constantly be doing this, right? And I found that there's a couple other resources, right? Like I know reading books, right? Like I've read some books in my life, right? But I've ultimately, become more of like a video or audible, kind of person, right? I mean, you really got to figure out what your best learning style is and then go with that, right? Like mine's audio and visual, right? Those are my two big ones, right? Now I can sit and read a book, but I feel like it takes too much time to read a book, so this is why I do the alternative, right? And so continuing your education can really improve your life, especially if you feel like you're in a rock and a hard place, you don't know where to go. You need to seek out, right? Like the resources again are right there. Like if you want to do a side gig, if you want to do, open a business, if you want to, perhaps get out of the job that you're in and do a different job. I mean, there's so many different resources, you can't say that there is no opportunity because there is. You just have to learn. And that's why continued education is extremely important. Now, this is not saying beating yourself up, right? But you should dedicate some time every week, right? Now, I am a junkie and I am constantly just absorbing as much as I can, right? Every spare time, if I'm driving in the car, I'm listening to a podcast or, I'm listening to a book. And whenever I'm just out and about, right, and when I'm cooking, I try to listen to a book or listen to a podcast, right? It's taking advantage of those times, right, and trying to just squeeze in a little bit more. At least that's what I do, right? I'm not saying you have to do that, but you should dedicate some time every day during the week. I think is extremely important to, maybe just listen 20 minutes on a podcast or a book when you're taking a walk, right, or doing something different, something that doesn't require you to really think deeply, right, that you can actually pay attention to what the book is saying or what the podcast is saying or any kind of visual. And it's important to do this, right, because a lot of times we like to drift straight towards those mind-numbing things that we don't have to think, right? But if we have something in the background, we pick up on the subtle things that we listen to, right? And if you do this on a consistent basis, you realize you start learning a lot more. You start opening doors, and that's ultimately what this whole process of continued education is that it changes your perspective, it changes your outlook on life, it changes a lot of different things about your life. And for myself, right, I felt like I was trapped in a lot of different situations, and I used, I sought out education, and when I did that, I was able to dramatically change my life. And you have to realize that right now, things are really easy to essentially get ahead because you have everything right at your fingertips, which is phenomenal, right? And so if you ever feel lost, and perhaps you are a younger generation, so you are born into this age and you realize how easy it is, and the fact is that you need to find that thing that you really enjoy, right? Or maybe there's a struggle in your life that you are really having some tough times going through, right? Pick up a book, find out what you can do, right? Like I mentioned, meditation. Meditation was a great thing. It's something I learned, right? I didn't know how to do meditation, but I sought it out and I continued that education. It's not saying you have to go traditional education. That's what the ultimate message is here, is that you don't have to go traditionally, right? Because now I foresee, colleges and all those different things, education is going to dramatically change, right? Everything is so fast paced, you can't put a lot of stuff in a book and try to teach that, right? Because by the time you do that, all that stuff is essentially outdated, right? Like people need experience, they need it now, and they need to do it. And if you continue this education, and it's not saying it's a bad thing, right? Like I do this is what I do, and I love doing this. And when you do it right, initially it may seem like work, but when you start doing those things and realizing that a lot of these things that you read and start implementing into your life, that they really do improve your life, that, you get kind of addicted to it, right? And you want to seek out, new knowledge and apply that to your life, right? And ultimately, I think that's what the continued education is to just improve your life, make your life better, right? And life doesn't have to be miserable. Yeah, life is tough, right? But it can be easier if you find other perspective, you find other scenarios that you've learned about, and open your eyes to different things and realize that, you're not completely trapped, or you may be in a situation that you feel like, man, life just really stinks right now, and how do I get out of this? And then, if you start reading up on stuff and listening to stuff, it truly helps you pull yourself out of these situations. So if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to hit this like button on the way out. Till next time, I will see you guys later.